This rubber band describes why many people cannot live for God. This rubber band, if you pull on it, it will grow and it will stretch out, but as soon as you release your pull on it, then it will return right back to the shape and right back to the way that it was. And we can, as people, have a desire to live for God. We can have a desire to change our lives. We can have a desire to serve God with all of our heart. We can go to church. We can change the friends that we're around. We can pray every day. We can study the Word every day. And as we do those things, we can grow and become more like the Christian and more like the person that we desire to be. But there's one thing that will cause us to return and go right back to the way we were, and that is confidence. If we do not have confidence in ourselves to live for God, we will eventually, no matter how much we're praying, no matter how much we're studying, no matter how much we're going to church, no matter how much we've changed our friends, you can go to church every time the doors are open and sit there and hear a message and in your mind think, I just don't know if I can live for God or not. This is so hard. I just don't think I'm going to be able to do this. What if I fail? I'm starting to get persecuted. I'm starting to get ridiculed. People, if I fail, I'm going to make a fool out of myself. And all the progress that you were making and all the change that you were making, if you do not have confidence that you can live for God, then you're going to return right back to the way that you were. Just like this rubber band, we can grow if we rely on the power of God, on the grace of God, on the strength of God. The Bible says in our own selves we can do nothing, but we can do all things through Christ, which strengthens us. So don't try to live for God in your own power and your own strength. Make that decision that you will serve Him, that you will love Him with all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength, that you will commit your life to God. But also know, as I pray, as I study, as I go to church, as I start fellowshipping with godly people every day, as I do those things, I'm going to rely on God to give me the strength and to give me the grace. He will give me the ability to live this life, to serve Him, and to give Him my all. But if I don't rely upon His strength, and I think it's so hard, and I think I'm not going to be able to do it, I'll go right back to my old ways and my old lifestyle. So my thought tonight is, if you desire to serve God, if you're battling in your relationship with God, if you served God in the past, but you failed, you went back to your old life, you went back to your old ways, it could have been because you have allowed your mind to drift off. It could be because you weren't studying, you weren't praying, you weren't fellowshipping, you weren't going to church, you weren't doing all of those things. But if you were doing all those things, but in your mind, I know there's people that sit on the pews of a church every time the doors are open. They're coming faithfully to church. They're trying to change their lives. But in their mind, they do not think that they can change. So eventually, they go right back out to their old ways. And to that person, if that is you tonight, I say rely upon the grace of God, the strength of God, the power of God, the Spirit of God. Be filled with the Spirit of God and stay full of the Spirit of God. Believe that He will change you. It will happen progressively. It will not happen. You won't just go from here to here, but you will progressively grow if you'll study the Word, if you'll meditate on the Word, if you'll pray every day, fellowship with God. It doesn't matter if you start out, you can't read the Bible but 5 minutes or pray 5 minutes a day. If that is where you're starting out at, don't let somebody else that's reading their Bible, they're reading 5 chapters or 10 chapters and they're praying an hour or 2 hours a day. Don't let that person defeat you. You're starting out here. They may have been serving God for a long time. Don't let that person discourage you, but let it be encouragement to you that that is the place that I can get to. That is the way that I will be in the future. I'm going to take it one step at a time. I'm going to rely upon the grace of God today. Give me today the daily bread. Give me today the daily strength, the daily grace, the daily word. Bring people into my life that I need to give me this strength, to help me along this journey. If you're by yourself, the Bible says, it's so easy to fall. But if we're two walk together, then one can pick up the other when they fall. We need each other. We need to encourage each other. But believe that you can live for God. Believe that you can serve God. Don't believe that it's too hard and that you're not able to do it. Don't allow yourself to go back. But get that confidence that with the grace of God, with the help of God, I will be able to serve Him.